I watched Channel 4 News last night and I got to 40 minutes in and I thought, are they going to mention the fact that Keir Starmer is under the cosh here? That, you know, Lord Ali and the revelations coming out of the penthouse and the £18 million penthouse are getting worse. That, you know, the Labour Party's, you know, sort of folding in on itself.
It's just a rich guy, and I actually make no criticism of him. It seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. And people hate that stuff. And they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot.
The political elite often act like the rules don't apply to them, as if they're above accountability. But this week, that illusion began to crack. Sir Keir Starmer found himself at the centre of a growing scandal after comedian Jim Davidson made some explosive claims during a private comedy set in Westminster. Davidson alleges that CCTV footage from Lord Ali's private office shows Starmer in a compromising situation, one so serious it reportedly led Starmer's wife, Victoria, to contact divorce lawyers and leave their family home in tears. Several private sources say the footage was shown to her at a charity event, and since then, she hasn't been seen in public. Downing Street has officially dismissed the story as nonsense, but behind closed doors, there's growing concerns. A team has started firing off cease and desist letters, threatening legal action, and pressuring tech companies to scrub any mention of the story from their platforms. It appears the Labour leader is using the full power of his position to silence the narrative and intimidate anyone who dares to speak out.
You went from being, one of the most beloved TV comedians. How did it feel as the sort of cancel culture rose and the news stopped? How were you perceived differently by the media, I suppose?
Well, it didn't bother me that much because I thought it was their problem. I thought it was them that were, they're wrong, they're mad. Okay,
Davidson isn't backing down. After watching the footage, he described it as physically sickening. It's a strong claimant, one that hits especially hard given the target. Keir Starmer, once seen as the loudest advocate for political integrity, is now facing accusations of the very corruption he promised to root out. Labour insiders are increasingly uneasy. Some are even discussing how to unseat Starmer, viewing him not just as a liability, but as the biggest threat to the party's future, and possibly to the nation. And just when many thought Jim Davidson would fade out of the conversation, he returned, with one final scathing blow accusing Starmer of being a prime minister with a sugar daddy who's also harbouring fake asylum seekers.
And that is, for me, possibly the worst and most damaging aspect of this story. That this is a guy who is leading our country, who is the representative of the United Kingdom at the United Nations. You know, he's not the head of state, but he's, the leader of the nation. He has lived a complete lie. I mean, I've said earlier today in the show, I don't know what he gets up to with Lord Ali. I don't know what he does for hours and hours on end at this flat that they seem to be happy to share.
People are growing increasingly frustrated with Keir Starmer and his party, as more details emerge about his connection with Lord Ali and the suspicious events surrounding that luxury penthouse. What's stirring even more public anger is how major news networks like Channel 4 and the BBC seem to be avoiding the story altogether, raising serious questions about their neutrality. For many, it feels like there's a coordinated effort to shield Starmer from public accountability. The link between Starmer and Lord Ali, especially the way the penthouse has been used for political events, hasn't gone unnoticed. And when Labour figures like Wes Streeting are seen hosting fundraising events there, it only adds to the sense that something's not right. In the same penthouse.
I mean, this is unbelievable to me.
So I think there is something bigger going on here, and it's annoying because I don't know what it is. And I know that the lobby of political journalists at Westminster feel the same. All of us instinctively feel that there is some big fact here that we're not being made.
I mean, I'm going to ask the question because nobody else will. Is it some kind of sex thing, do you think?
So there have long been rumours about Keir Starmer's private life, and they certainly aren't to do with any kind of doubts over his sexuality, if I can put it delicately. Okay. They are to do with his past.
People are especially frustrated over a donation linked to climate policy that wasn't properly disclosed. What's made things worse is that Keir Starmer appeared to film public messages from Lord Ali's luxury penthouse while giving the impression he was at home. This has sparked serious questions about transparency, not just around Starmer himself, but across the Labour Party's leadership. But perhaps the most troubling part of all, this is the growing sense of distrust among voters. While some of the more personal allegations remain undefined, there's a nagging feeling that we're not being told the whole story. Public figures, like Isabel Oxshott, have openly suggested that parts of Starmer's past are being kept under wraps by the media, only deepening the public's concern that something important is being hidden.
Because it's really quite easily understood. It's just a rich guy, and I actually make no criticism of him. It seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. And people hate that stuff. And they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot.
Once again, Keir Starmer's leadership is under fire, this time over his ties to Lord Ali and the use of a lavish £18 million penthouse. The whole situation has sparked a wave of public frustration, with many feeling like something deeper and possibly darker is going on. There's a growing sense that things just don't add up. The controversy began when Starmer defended staying in Lord Ali's luxury apartment, claiming it was so his son could focus on studying for his GCSEs. But here's the thing: the timeline doesn't quite match up. Reports suggest the family stayed for 7 weeks, well beyond when the exams were over. So naturally, people are asking why stick around in such an extravagant place for so long. And it doesn't stop there. It turns out Starmer's son may not, who've been the only one benefiting from this setup. Questions are swirling about how many family members stayed there and whether it was truly necessary, especially when there were surely other options for a quiet study environment. Starmer has said the accommodation, costing £450 a night, was all properly declared. But given the penthouse's real value, many feel that's just not enough. Critics point out that this kind of perk clashes with Labour's repeated attacks on privilege and special treatment, especially when it comes to things like private education and inequality. That kind of double standard doesn't sit well with voters, and the longer this story drags on, the worse it gets. The more people hear, the more they feel something is being hidden. Maybe a personal favor, maybe something else entirely. Either way, it doesn't look good. What started as a story about a luxury stay is now a bigger conversation about trust, transparency, and integrity. At its heart, this isn't just about a penthouse anymore. It's about whether those who promise to stand up for fairness are actually practicing what they preach. And for many, the doubt is beginning to creep in. If Labour's leadership can't be upfront about this, what else might they be keeping from us?
Should Keir Starmer and his wife pay for their own clothes? Victoria Starmer has been wearing high-end clothes given to her by a Labour donor. Lord Ali recently gifted her more than £5,000 worth of clothing. He's also given the PM items worth almost £19,000. Starmer did declare his gifts to Parliament, but not his wife's. The gifts have now been registered after the Prime Minister sought advice. And the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner has rejected calls from the Tories for an investigation.
Sir Keir Starmer and his wife Victoria are facing mounting questions over luxury gifts and what critics say is a pattern of privilege, secrecy, and potentially cover-ups. Recent disclosures show that Labour donor Lord Wahid Ali gave Victoria Starmer more than £5,000 worth of designer clothing, while Keir himself accepted nearly £19,000 in high-end items. On paper, these gifts have been properly declared to Parliament, but behind the scenes, concerns are growing. Starmer's justification is that these clothes were to help him and his wife look presentable in the public eye. But for a man on a significant taxpayer-funded salary and a wife said to earn well in her own right, many are left wondering why accept luxury donations at all. The optics are undeniably awkward for a man who positions himself as a champion of ordinary working people. But that's only part of the story. It has also emerged that the Starmers stayed at Lord Ali's £18 million penthouse well beyond their son's GCSE exams. No official explanation has been given. Who else was there? Who paid for the extended stay? These questions hang in the air unanswered, and attempts to find clarity have reportedly been met with silence, deflection, or worse, suppression. Multiple Westminster sources now say that CCTV footage linked to these events, reportedly showing Starmer and Lord Ali in private quarters, was seized by British authorities, allegedly under orders from Downing Street. Starmer's team insists that footage is irrelevant to public interest, but critics aren't buying it. Some are calling it a dangerous abuse of power, according to insiders. Several political journalists, many connected to comedian Jim Davidson, who first raised the issue, have been pressured into silence. Some have allegedly had credentials revoked. Others were warned off the story by individuals claiming to represent senior government figures. All of this paints a troubling picture. One not just of luxury wardrobes and high society connections, but of attempts to keep the public from knowing more. There's growing chatter in Westminster and beyond about a series of leaked video clips allegedly showing activity inside Lord Ali's penthouse during the time Keir Starmer and his family stayed there. The footage reportedly doesn't just show the interior of Lord Ali's offices, but also captures movement in the entrance and hallways. According to sources close to the matter, including journalist Isabel Oxshott and other insiders. The clips hint at several questionable late-night meetings, unexpected visitors, and moments that could raise both ethical and legal concerns. Starmer's team has dismissed the rumors as malicious gossip, but not everyone in the Labour Party is convinced. One unnamed Labour MP reportedly described the situation as a slow-burning credibility crisis that could explode at any moment. When you combine these allegations with earlier reports about high-end gifts, undisclosed perks, and use of luxury accommodation, the public mood is beginning to shift. Starmer, once seen by many as a disciplined, straight-talking leader, now risks being painted as just another privileged figure entangled in the very backroom dealings. His party claims to stand against the story first grabbed attention when it was revealed that Lord Ollie, a major Labour donor, had gifted Starmer's wife, Victoria, over £5,000 worth of clothing. Starmer himself received nearly £19,000 in fashion items, while these gifts were eventually declared to Parliament. Victoria's donations were only disclosed after media scrutiny, raising questions about transparency. But for many, the bigger question is, why would someone as wealthy as Starmer need such expensive gifts in the first place? And more importantly, why are they all coming from the same person? Things escalated further when it emerged that Starmer's family stayed for several weeks in Lord Ali's £18 million penthouse during their son's GCSE exam period. Starmer defended the stay, saying it was to give his son a quiet place to revise, but critics were quick to question why they remained there even after the exams were over, and whether such an extravagant setting was really necessary for studying. Some cynically asked, would a library not have done? Now, public scrutiny is beginning to focus not just on the gifts or the stay, but on the deeper question, is Lord Ali's generosity simply that, or is it creating a sense of obligation or influence? Given Lord Ollie's prominent role as a donor, it's not hard to see why people are asking whether political favour might be at play. As the revelations continue to trickle out and MPs privately voice concern, the British public is starting to ask the kind of question that no political leader wants to hear. Who is Keir Starmer working for, and why do these stories keep piling up?
Don't go near anything. Don't take anything for free, just in case.
I mean, also, this is like is this the only billionaire that supports Labour? I think it's a bit sad that he seems to, this Ali.
Yeah, he's buying them clothes. He's like, buying them food.
They've got no one else to go, because they said, oh, was it, what's his first name? Is his first name Ali? Yeah, no, his surname's Ali. Lord Ali.
Lord is his first name.
I was looking for it was Lord, yes. Lord Ali.
Yes.
They were like, well, is it Lord Ali's place? He's like, yeah, of course it is.
So he's the only donor at this point.
It seems so.
They would all starve without him.
Lord Ali must be sat there and his phone rings. He's like, oh, Starmer again.
He's just going to give him the bank details and let him get on with it.
Here we have Keir Starmer, leader of a party that claims to champion the working class, accepting luxury clothing, accommodation, and other perks from a single donor, and not just any donor, Lord White Ollie, one of the wealthiest men in the UK. People online didn't hold back. Social media quickly lit up with jokes, some even dubbing Ollie as Starmer's sugar daddy, a phrase that caught on far and wide. Whether these gifts were just generous tokens between friends, or something more strategic, the public is raising eyebrows, and who can blame them? When a politician accepts lavish gifts especially regularly, it naturally raises questions. This isn't about a thank you bottle of wine nights, an entire lifestyle being sponsored. And for someone who says he's fighting for ordinary people, it feels off. The bigger issue, trust. Every new detail that comes out seems to make the situation murkier, and the explanations so far haven't exactly put minds at ease. Instead, the story keeps building, and public confidence keeps eroding. People are tired of the double standards, tired of politicians claiming the moral high ground, while quietly playing by a different set of rules. Whether Starmer can weather this storm is still up in the air, but one thing's clear, that public isn't buying the polished talking points anymore. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.